welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. This time we are in the outer rim of the solar system, and we are entering a planet that was found much later than the other planets. That's what I found out why they are not often shown in astrological herbal books, is because when a lot of these early herbal books were being created, they didn't even know about these planets. So exactly, very interesting, because they can't be seen with the naked eye. They require other equipment to see. So the one that we're in today is Neptune. So let's just get cooking, shall we? And these pictures aren't very good, but they will resume being good because I did I'm like, why am I being so weird and bitchy about why am I being so weird about the herbs of or the pictures? I just have to realize that it's never going to give me anything but G. So if I try to make it do something that's like the slightest bit negative or sad or anything, it's not going to give it to me. So, but whatever, I'll just have to live with it.
It is what it is.
I know. I wonder if that's ever going to change. Like, I wonder if we'll be able to click a box or verify that we're over 21 and you can make sad pictures for us. We're not going to die if you make a picture of somebody crying, or if Helen of Troy, a fake mythological character, is crying and Ella Campaign grows from her tears. I'm not going to pass out from it.
Like a little checkbox that says, I take responsibility for my mental health or something.
Exactly. I take responsibility for the pictures that are exactly. I'm not going to come unhinged if you give me pictures. Anyway, so we are now in the herbs of Neptune. And let's just start out with the planetary correspondences. Let's see here. Hold on. So the element is 100% water, obviously, super watery, Neptune, as it were. And the deities, and of course, I don't even look at, although we're going to talk about Neptune versus Poseidon for sure, but these are some of the female deities that are associated with the planet Neptune. So let's see, Amphitrite, could that be it? Or I don't know. Do you know? Does anybody want to take a guess at that sea goddess name? No?
I would say Amphitrite or Amphitrite.
One or the other. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So she's a sea goddess and a wife of Poseidon. Ishtar, Salacia, the goddess of springs, and rules over the springs of mineralized water. She's also a consort of Poseidon, and later she is conflated with Amphitrite. Sedna, who is in the Inuit tradition, Sedna is a powerful sea goddess and the ruler of the underworld. She's associated with the ocean and all of its mysteries. Tethys, who's a Greek sea goddess. Yemaya, who in the Yoruba religion and its diaspora, and Yemaya is the goddess of the sea. So there we go. The crystals and stones, and tell me which one this is. So there's amethyst, aquamarine, blue lace agate, coral, jade, lapis lazuli, larimar, moonstone, sapphire, and sodalite. Which one?
I would guess Larimar.
That's right. That's why I looked it up, because I didn't even know what Larimar was. And I was really oh pretty. My God, I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like, and a lot of places have it tumbled, most of the crystals, but tumbled is kind of cool because you can see this white banding a little bit better, kind of like on the outside perimeter of your picture, how you can see the white lines and stuff. So when it's tumbled, that comes through much more clear, but when it's raw, you can really see that beautiful I don't know, ocean green color.
It's amazing. I was looking at all the pictures of it. I'm like, why have I, and it was I feel like I've seen a lot of stones and I didn't even know that was real. Like I saw it, I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's rad. So the colors are blue, purple, and white. And here is the more planetary correspondences. So the metals are bronze and iron, and the animals, of course, are all sea animals, especially crustaceans, fish, and octopuses. And I'm gonna like give a little shout out to that it's not octopi, it's octopuses, and it's because of it's the root of the word, whether it's Greek or Latin, it determines whether it's pie or pusses. And whichever one it is has determined that it's pusses, not pie. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. So true.
The astrological sign, as you may well guess, is Pisces, because for all the, and I agree 1000%, like because of all the water signs, I've heard that Pisces is like an ocean. So like that's like definitely their correspondence. The tarot is the emperor. I don't know about that. The tarot correspondences always give me pause anyway. So whatever, maybe, perhaps. The day is Thursday. More. So the organs are the kidneys, and the kidneys mostly because it's corresponded with anything that moves water around in our bodies as well, but also the thalamus, the pineal gland, the spinal canal, and it's also associated with uncertain illnesses and neuroses. As one might expect, it's like an ocean of water. It's like, it's Pisces. Pisces is all those things.
Yeah.
The realm is the mystical realm, dreams, psychic powers, creative pursuits, spiritual transcendence. The humor is phlegmatic. The function is extraordinary functions outside of the physical. And the quality is cold and wet. I feel like I've got some hair on me that's driving me nuts. So in your chart, and I don't know what yours is, but you'll know immediately. We can tell immediately. And I did them all because it's so rad. Okay. Oh, nice. So we don't have to go looking them up. So, but I'll tell you what it's about first of all, and then we're going to look at each one, like what it means. So for in your chart, it's the sign of dreams and imagination. So it influences your ability to dream big and envision possibilities, create artistic or creative expressions. It helps you tap into your inner visions and fantasies. It's also about spirituality and mysticism, and like growing your spiritual growth, mystical experiences. So when it's in a sign, it like suggests that it's about like how you creatively see that sign or spiritually connect to it on a deeper level. It can involve exploring various spiritual practices though, or philosophies. It ties you in also to your intuition, so involving your psychic abilities. So for your personally, and we're going to see that there's a personal aspect to this as well as a different type of thing that we may not have seen so far in regards to astrology. So it allows you to perceive things beyond the ordinary senses and access your inner knowing, all sorts of things. It's also a sign of illusion sometimes and confusion. It can create fog in you or a sense of illusion. It might make it challenging to see things clearly and distinguish between reality and fantasy. It can, just like Pisces, escapism, the tendency to avoid facing difficult truths, all those things. It also fosters compassion, empathy, selflessness. It invites you to help others and those who are suffering. And we're going to see this a lot in like the secondary aspect of Neptune in your chart. We already talked about escape from reality, and fantasy and art is huge. So it's a driving force behind the pursuit of like artistic and creative experiences that are elevated, like these art pieces of art and creativity that are like almost spiritual in nature. That's Creativity and art. There you go. Creative. It governs artistic expression, including music, poetry, and visual arts. So in your chart. So this is the coolest thing. So Neptune stays in a planet for 14 years. So it's a generational planet. It leaves an imprint on an entire generation. So for your personal reading, you need to look at what house this is in. And I don't even talk about that, but you're going to have to figure that out. I mean, I just look at your natal chart and it'll tell you what house you're in. But we're going to look at this both generationally as well as personally. So first of all, Aries. So Aries, what the last time Neptune was in Aries was 1861 to 1870, and it will be back in Aries in 2025. So Aries, think about how fiery and punchy it is. Well, this was the time of the Civil War, our most bloody and deadly war yet that we've had. It was the time of the Franco-Prussian War. It was the invention of dynamite, a time when the invention of the machine gun and the typewriter as well. But you can see that it's like innovation and creativity in these like Aries, fiery, kind of almost angry pursuits. But it was also a time when the first suffrage law was passed in Wyoming and genetics were discovered as well. So in Taurus, this was generationally from 1874 to 1887, and then again March in 2011 to 2000, and we're still in Taurus. So it's interesting. They talk about experimental cars, which I'm like, so like, wow. And that was like from back then. Yeah. Okay, so it brought the incandescent light bulb, the first Woolworth, of course, like stuff and beautiful stuff around us, like having like now we have like what's it called, like the first department stores, you know, like it was about an aesthetic approach to science, spiritual trust with practical applications. So if you have this in your site, you respond to music and beauty on a deep level if this is your sign. So these are these like new kids that were born since 2011. And we're going to see how funny it is that some of these kids, like, we're like, oh yeah, I saw like, I'm like, oh yeah. So Gemini was 1887 to 1901. And it's transformation and communication. So it's like these like deep spiritual ties to communication, like the first photographic film and Marconi's radio. There were cultural shifts in art too, like the modernist movement, like huge shifts from like one thing to the next. Like the modernist movement was like a huge shift from Art Nouveau and from all these other things. Like it was like, so there was major social shifts. You're alert, inquiring, restless. You may not be able to put down roots if you have this. So when Neptune was last in Cancer, it was 1901 to 1915. This was the Mexican and the Chinese uprising, World War I, the San Francisco earthquake, the founding of the Boy Scouts, Einstein's theory of relativity, the pure food and drug law, the discovery of vitamins. So this is about building the home and the family, and also like deep spiritual connections to your home and family, like for Mexicans and Chinese people as well. Like there's like these deep ties to like home and family. So Leo was in 1915 to 1925, and think at 29. So think about this. This is the time period right before the stock market crash. Okay. So things are like Leo all the way. It was like people were like partying, like there was no tomorrow. It was like a high period of art and fashion. People gave rise to hypnotic power to they could vent their imagination outwardly. There was the Versailles Peace Treaty. Also, we saw the beginning of Nazism, like the first little thing that led to the onset of Nazism. The Scopes evolution trial. So everything's like out, the first films, the discovery of penicillin. So there was a false sense though of revelry, a false sense that like money would last forever, which is so like So Leo.
Yeah.
If you have Leo in your site, you're romantic and you use your magnetism and flair for the dramatic. So Virgo was 1920, and this is so perfect, 1929 to 1943. The stock market crash. Of course, we go crashing down to earth. Like reality hits.
Yeah.
We're entering the atomic age. We dropped the gold standard. We entered World War II. There were race riots during this time. So you have like creativity isn't maybe the strongest suit here. It's like your practical approach to like spirituality and creativity. Mm-hmm. Libra is from 1943 to 1956. So again, like I felt like these were so like indicative of our time period, like the ending of World War II, the formation of the UN, like total like making peace, making balance, but also seeking out the commies by McCarthy. Racial segregation was struck down by the Supreme Court. LSD was created during this time. So it's new ways of approaching relationships and the law. If you have this in your site, in your sign, in your chart, you're poised, perceptive, and well-advised. Scorpio was from 1956 to 1970. So a deep sense of purpose and a drive to truth pervaded this generation. The Berlin Wall was built. We went to the moon. The Vietnam War raged on and civil rights marches took place. There was definitely a sense of drive to get to the truth and to a purpose in what we were doing. We had heart transplants and developed the polio vaccination during this time. So if you have Scorpio and Neptune, you're filled with intensity, leads to novel approaches in art, religion, and every part of your life. So this is me. This is my generation, 1970 to 1984. So this is a time where hidden things are brought out. This is an era of the Watergate scandal. It's also an era of great sci-fi, like it came to the forefront, like Star Wars trilogies were made during this time. Dreams of a better world abounded. If you have this in your chart, it's high religious values, striving to explore the powers of the mind. You have new ideas about education and are very interested in foreign cultures. So Capricorn, so I don't even know, you can just tell what era you're in. Chime in if you're in this era.
This is me.
It's you. Is it you, Roz, or were you born before 1984? Oh, maybe not. Okay. Yeah. So this
I was born in 1982.
Okay, so you're with me, the Sagittarius. Yes. Yes. Okay, so Capricorn is the collective imagination became fascinated with making money, getting to the top. Think about the 80s and all that whole thing about like greed is good was the motto of the time. Traditional, conventional, and conscientious. So very traditional. It's
yay me.
So now this is hilarious. These are my kids, okay? Socially, philosophically, and politically visionary. You, Gen Z, have a detached attitude with the ability to understand the abstract. You will hit a racist and then be repelled to stand in line in public. Like they will change the world with compassion and innovation despite their eccentricity. Which is so funny. Like I felt like this is so perfect. And then Pisces. These are the new ones. These are Gen Alpha. Skibbity toilet, man. So skibbity riz. So Neptune is in its own sign here. So that means that it's exalted. So that means that this generation is inspirational, spiritual, sensitive. They have a bent towards prophecy. So this era will bring about newness in art and music. There's a deep desire to transcend reality to a higher realm. This is the time. This time will be an ending and a new beginning as well. So what happens about this retrograde thing? Because it happens quite a bit. It goes retrograde annually. So even if you need to check your chart, because even if sometimes when it goes retrograde, it goes into another sign even. It appears like it's going into another sign. So when Neptune goes retrograde, that's the time where the reality hits the fan. It's time to pay the piper. So watch out. So let's talk about the god. Who is this Neptune? So Neptune is the god of the sea, fresh water, and also of horses. He presides over the waters of the world and is often associated with storms, earthquakes, and the overall power of the ocean. He's depicted with a trident, which symbolizes power. He's mature. He has a gray beard usually. He embodies commanding and unpredictable nature of the ocean. However, even though often conflated with Poseidon, they are very different in this instance. So Poseidon was second in command to Zeus. So Poseidon had a lot more power. Where Neptune is not like second in command. Like he's not, it's just the god of the ocean. So we have like a definite difference. So it's often conflated, but it seems very different in this instance. There was a Neptunalia, though, which was held at the height of summer. And they think that maybe to like bring in the water into the dry era, they wanted to like honor the water gods to bring back the water during that time. And there was only one temple that was dedicated to Neptune. And there's only a few gods where it was acceptable to sacrifice bulls, and Neptune is one of them. So the plants of Neptune, what does it mean if there's a plant and it's a Neptune plant? So like I said before about the kidneys, these plants work well with systems that pass water or fluids through the body. But they also open the mind and give vision, especially if you lack vision. They restore dreaming, both the like dreaming while you're asleep, as well as like your dreams. Like, are you like, have your dreams been lacking? Because that will restore that too. And I tell you, I had such a vivid dream last night. You were in it, by the way, Raven. Like, yes. Like it was insane. It took me a while to remember it, but I woke up in the middle of the night, like just panting from it. Like it was so like disturbing. It was insane. I'll have to tell you about it later.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't need any more of that dreaming. Geez, that's one of the best things. Now that I'm in sobriety, there's no more marijuana to tamp down my dreams. And gosh, I hate them. They're miserable. Anyway, so plants of Neptune, they're often herbs that will induce astral travel, but can create dependency. Remember, we're ruled by Pisces, and Pisces has usually, like, part of Pisces is a little bit of dependence issues that often people may struggle with. So they should be used only for short periods of time. They are gentle and soft and very intoxicating, like flaxen cords around you that slowly tighten. And some of them, though, are another aspect to that is that sea plants. So we have like this whole like watery plants, and we're going to see that like when we look, and I'll go through some of these plants because there's not a ton of them. Because remember, it was like a later thing. They didn't like when they were categorizing many of these, they didn't even know about Neptune. And so these plants they have two kind of ways of being. Like either they're these intoxicating plants or they're these very watery plants like sea plants and others, like we're going to see. But one thing is that they tend to grow in all directions. So that's one aspect of them. So here's the master plant list. And like I said, what you can see in there is that there's things like wild lettuce, there's things like ocean plants, and also like peaches and citrus plants as well. All citrus is involved in this as well. But there's also morning glory and opium poppy in there. So we have kind of a mixed bundle here of plants. But those are the combination from Bayerel, from ours, and from Alchemy Works. So that is that. Now you know everything about Neptune and the god Neptune and Neptune plants. You're ready to go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed all this, and we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.